Climate Now, in collaboration with Copernicus.
Hello and welcome to Climate Now, our unique monthly update on what's really happening to our planet. Coming up in the programme, could climate data be the key to slowing the spread of wildfires?
The kind of subsoil fire that was unthinkable 20 years ago is now a reality.
Before that, the latest data from the Copernicus Climate Change Service. Globally, March was cooler than it has been for the past 5 years, although temperatures were still 0.2 degrees Celsius above the new 1991 to 2020 average. Here in Europe, temperatures were not particularly extreme, but there was a great deal of variability elsewhere. It was more than 6 degrees cooler than average in western Antarctica and northern Siberia, and then several degrees warmer than average in a huge band stretching from the Arabian Peninsula across through Mongolia, China and eastern Russia, and then another hotspot up here in the Svalbard archipelago. And we can show you what that looks like from space with this photo from one of the Sentinel-3 satellites. And this area of open blue sea here north of Svalbard would normally be covered by sea ice in March. So you can see how the March 2021 sea ice figure fits in to this graph here with data since 1979 showing the overall decline in Arctic sea ice. Now to our report, and we know that as the planet warms, so the risk from wildfires is increasing in some areas, claiming lives and destroying property. To better manage that risk, firefighters and climate scientists are now working together on a smart new prediction system. I went to Spain to meet them. The blaze that blackened this hillside near Tarragona is an example of a new breed of wildfire, which now burns hotter, moves faster, and can live for weeks underground. Catalan fire expert Marc Castelnau says the fires now restart all the time.
The fire stays alive in the subsoil, in roots, and the flames can reignite. This has happened here about 11 times in the last 3 weeks. It's a clear example of how the fire regime has been changing in recent years.
The change he's witnessing is partly due to a warmer climate. The winters aren't so cold and there are longer dry spells. Poor forest management is another factor. Mark's goal is to get ahead of the flames, so he's now working on a new fire prediction system with climate change risk expert Laia Romero, who's relishing the opportunity.
Working
with firefighters who run day-to-day operations and understanding how fire behaves from their perspective gives us in-depth knowledge for the work we are doing, so that we can go beyond a theoretical model and really use all the data that's available.
Laia's Barcelona-based company is using artificial intelligence to incorporate a huge range of data into the new wildfire prediction system. That includes information about the vegetation cover, topography, rainfall, temperature, plus long-term climate simulations, and one key new ingredient that should make all the difference: soil moisture maps like this. Laia explains more.
Drought is a chronic risk. It's a risk that has inertia. It accumulates. But just because it stops raining today does not mean that there's a drought. You have to look at what has happened in the past. Soil moisture is a perfect indicator to help anticipate whether in 1, 2, or 3 months there will be a probability of fire.
Being able to see which areas are at risk from fire months in advance will help the firefighters to take preventive action and use their limited resources safely and effectively. The fires won't go away, but at least the damage they do can be limited.
We have to be smarter and understand that climate change is going to happen either way, and we have to come out of it having saved as much biodiversity as possible and not having lost everything.
You can see all the data presented in this programme and watch our live YouTube debate with Laia Romero, Bertrand Piccard and other climate entrepreneurs on euronews.com/climatenow. And I'll see you next time.
Climate Now, in collaboration with Copernicus.